Well, hello there. My name's Doug Meadows. I'm the founder, visionary, and hero maker here at David Douglas Diamonds. And I just want to welcome you to our weekly podcast. This is week 30 of a century of luxury and legacy as we explore our 100-year anniversary or 100-year legacy of being in the jewelry, a family of jewelers. I find myself in Louisville, Kentucky today. Sometimes I feel like it's like kind of like Waldo, where in the world is Doug this week? And so this week I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and we have I'm a member of IJO, the Independent Jewelers Organization. A lot of education, a lot of buying opportunities here. So. And just a lot of good networking. But, this week, be honest with you, I've been struggling what to talk about. But I think what I want to talk about is numbers. And, the accounting side of a jewelry business definitely has changed in the past 100 years. I mean, I think of my grandfather, and I can only imagine that he definitely didn't have credit cards back then. I didn't do any research to see when did check writing start I guess more on a grand level, but I would only imagine that the majority of his business was in cash. And so that was a good indicator of how much money he had to work with. But there was a story one time about my grandfather. He was leaving work, and they robbed him out in the parking lot and took all of his jewelry off of his hands. And afterwards, he was so thankful that that's all they got, because he had a ton of cash in his front coat pocket. And so he said my rings were insured, but the cash wasn't. So, but just trying to grow a business, run a business on a truly a cash basis might have been a good thing. He definitely always knew his balance. He didn't have to look it up online to see how much money he had. But, and I don't know how he might have tracked sales or anything like that. But, then moving into my dad and uncle, I remember my dad had a machine that he would write a check, and he'd put the numbers in there, drop the check in there, and run it over so that it would actually imprint the amount of dollars written on that thing. And then he had a big book, kind of a ledger book, to where he would write everything down and things. And every now and then I remember my dad running home. So when we have our polishing machines that we use to polish the jewelry, we have big filters in there, because everything we do, a little bit of gold always comes off. So when we polish a piece of jewelry, minuscule amounts of gold will come off of that, and that gets caught up in that big filter. And so every piece of dirt in our shop is we save, and we send it off to the refiners, and they are able to extract the gold out of it. We sweep the floors. Our vacuum bags and our vacuum cleaners are put in a big barrel that we then ship off. We catch the dirt coming out of our sink, because when we wash our hands, we're washing off just a little bit of gold dust. When we're sanding and grinding, all that gold starts floating in the air and gets caught up in the air filters and stuff. And so every now and then my dad would run home from work. He would store the used filters in our garage, and every now and then he would come and gather those up. And I don't know, every time my mom saw him doing that, he goes, "Oh, we must need money." Because he was then able to send that to the refiner and get some cash, or do an exchange of just getting the gold needed to make the jewelry with, or size the rings with, or whatever. But my dad and uncle, their philosophy was to pretty much try to never pay taxes. And one of the ways they did that is they just adjusted inventory every year. It was like a fictitious number to them. And so, it got, I don't know, I didn't get raised being taught about finances or the books or anything like that. I know I don't even think I helped with any of that. I think my brother Dave did most of that stuff, but I never really got trained. So when I got into business, managing money was new to me, and trying to figure out how to do that, and what do you look at, and what, back then, personal computers were coming out, and different softwares for accounting was coming out. We had, back in the day, we had one called Peachtree Accounting that we used to use, and then there was one other one that was stupid expensive that we tried for a while. It was really good. It was too good. It was an overkill for what I needed. And so then we finally switched over to QuickBooks. And but so you had your QuickBooks, which gave you financials and stuff, and it's almost like you need almost 3 sets of numbers these days. You need your numbers to do your tax return. Not by being wrongful, just showing the legitimacy of what you can show. And then you have the numbers that the bank might want to see. And then, then you want the numbers that really tell you what's going on in your business. Maybe that's not the best philosophy, and I don't have that, but that's what I envision people do, But I've had terrible accounting practices my whole life, in the sense of not doing a good job of documenting everything properly. So I feel like I've been driving a ship, or driving a car with a blindfold on some of the time. Now, one number, or some of the numbers that I look at every single day, is my POS system. I look at my sales number, and but what I've learned over the years is that those sales numbers are for vanity, and then profit is sanity. And so you could be having an incredible business dollar-wise, but if it's not profitable, what good is it? And so over the years, we have worked diligently at trying to learn and understand how to read these numbers and different things. And actually this year, we made a huge shift, and we went to a new accounting software called Xero. And I'm currently working with a company called Accounting for Jewelers that specialize in our industry. And I'm getting coaching and consulting on a monthly basis with that, and it has been a huge eye-opener. Years ago, because in Georgia here, we had the Georgia Family Business of the Year Awards, and they would have a small business, medium-sized business, and a large business. And they had that for probably about 18 to 20 years that they did that every year. And I started applying for that. I think the best we got was either third or second place on it. And the main reason that we weren't chosen for first is because I didn't have any books to show them. I didn't have any financials to give them. But I was, in a stupid way, I was pretty proud of the fact that I was still surviving without having good books and when I say good books, I mean numbers that help me run a business properly. Um, and but it's really important to have good numbers, that you can know what is going on in your business. Even taking it back to personal finances, running a household. I did a terrible job when me and my wife first got married. Um, I knew everything that I was supposed to do. Did I do it? No. Um, you get to a point where you're just always pulling up your bank balance on your app just to see how much money you got to work with, which is not a very healthy thing to do. It's just, I don't know. It's been an interesting evolution, a very much needed learning tools to help me understand all this stuff, and then, based on the information, to help me make proper decisions and different things. I truly have not mastered it yet, but I'm light years ahead of where I was when I first started. When I first started, my first company, we successfully ran that into bankruptcy after a few years because we didn't know what we were doing. But we knew how to make jewelry and with our hands and things like that, but we had no clue on the numbers. But I'm so thankful for technology today, the tools that we have today, the software that we have today to really help us analyze our businesses and our numbers, and now with even AI, which is a scary place to be, but in one breath it's really exciting, in another breath it scares me to death. But as we all navigate this new horizon with this stuff, I'm learning how to use it to help me. Whether that will hurt me in the future, I have no idea. But for right now, it seems like a really good tool. And the analytics that it can do with my numbers and the analysis that it can do has been really interesting and exciting. But so today I still definitely work with my POS system to see what my sales were, what my margins are doing, because my goal is to have a fair price and a fair profit. I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody by my pricing. I'm not trying to get rich off of my pricing. I'm just trying to be fair with it, and I want to take good care of my staff, and I can't. I'm not a nonprofit. We have to be a profitable company. Every company out there has to be profitable. Sometimes that's always a dirty word, but that's what makes anybody's business anywhere in the world work, is if they can make money out of it. But so we watch those numbers, we watch our expenses. We've all felt the increase in cost on different things. We've seen gold go from $2,000 to $4,000, $5,000, back down to $4,000. We've seen silver go from $20 to $120, back down to $50. We've seen platinum, double and then come back down. It's just, a lot of different financial changes for us in trying to navigate and work. But, I finally have usable numbers that are helping me to navigate this new scenery. And I'm excited. I'm excited about the future, and I'm really excited to be building. One of my goals was to always leave Joseph a legacy and not a thorn in his side. Probably 12 years ago when I had my tractor accident and the tractor crushed me, had I died that day, I would have been leaving Joseph a mess. So, but now today, I feel like it's not perfect, but oh my goodness, it's leap years ahead of where it was 12 years ago. So I feel like I'm finally feeling comfortable enough to say I'll be able to leave him a legacy. I mean, I'm in no hurry to leave. It'll probably be another, who knows, 10, 15 years, who knows. But, I'm just having too much fun right now. But anyways, I think I'm going to just wrap it up for this week, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week from Lexington, Kentucky. I'll be attending our RJO show over there. So until next week, have a great week, and thanks for watching. Bye now.